I grew up in a little small town. Couldn't have asked for a better life growing up. I've always worked from the time I was 8 because I wanted to buy my own fishing hooks and ammunition. I was paying Social Security by the time I was 14, and I was so proud to get that Social Security card. Well, that was a rite of passage, you know. I was putting myself through Sam Houston State while working. I was house painting, and I enjoyed that a lot. Painting is one of those jobs where you look back and see where you started and where you're at, and there's a sense of satisfaction. After I left college, I decided to start my own little company, and that's where I did 24 foot the hard way. I was on a ladder painting the eaves of a 2-story house, and the ladder took off and bounced away. Well, once the ladder bounces away, you have to get off of it or ride it down. If you ride it down, it's going to beat the thunder out of you. So I just stepped off and went 24 feet. Wound up eventually having 8 surgeries on my spine. After the accident, I couldn't climb a ladder anymore. I couldn't carry anything. And I got depressed. I felt useless because I couldn't work. I was getting a disability check, which is not very much. And I really couldn't afford a decent place to live. So I wound up living by myself in a shack 11 miles out in the county. It was the worst place I ever lived in my life, which just made me feel worse because I still couldn't work. And I needed someone to take me to the grocery store. I needed someone to go take me to the pharmacy. It's very difficult for me to ask for help. There were times I got so depressed that I would be hungry, but I didn't have enough energy to get up and fix something to eat. Also, my youngest son was sick. He had renal failure. And so to get up to see him, transportation was a very, very difficult problem. It was an 80-mile round trip for my friend. And I felt guilty because I couldn't be up here with him. I did get up here and spent the last day with him before he passed away. And I had to go back down to that shack. And the isolation was even worse because of losing my son. It was one of those difficult periods of my life. I hadn't gotten suicidal, but I probably wasn't far from it. My sister found out about Foundation Communities, and when I saw this place, I couldn't believe it. I never had thought that I would ever be able to live in a place that was so nice, so well built, and that I could afford. This is not just an apartment building, it's a community altogether. There's so many opportunities here. Like on the first floor, there's a computer lab, I guess you would call it. There's 8 or 10 computers that are for us. We also have a big lobby area there where on Thursday mornings we have coffee and donuts, you know, and everybody gets down here and we socialize and just have a good time. We can have family come up and have a meal together with our family. The foundation does so much for us. I get a visiting nurse that comes once a week, whether I need her or not, and they check on me, make sure that my blood pressure is okay. And then if I have anything more serious, then they'll send a nurse practitioner or a doctor. On Mondays, we go to a food pantry here, and that helps a whole lot.
You're welcome.
I have some real good friends here. We go outside and sit around on the benches and stuff, and we cook community meals together, you know, and we look out for each other. I've helped other people, and people help me, and so I don't feel needy, you know, like I'd always had before. Thank you for giving me a wonderful place to live. This place has been so much better than being isolated out in that shack, and it's just great for me physically as well as emotionally and mentally. It's just been wonderful. It's kind of like Christmas every day. You know, I love it. They're gonna have to carry me out of here with my toes turned up because I'm not leaving.
Being born with a birth defect, I encountered a lot of bullying when I went to school. It was tough. It was tough. In middle school, I had a counselor who was just a godsend. She took me under her wings and encouraged me to come out of my shell, and she gave me that confidence, and I felt like wow, I can, really be anything that I want. That was the first time I knew that I wanted to become a counselor. So I delved into academics. I was super excited to go to college, start my journey, start my dreams. But about 1.5 years into college, my mom passed away. And that sent me into a downward spiral. So I dropped out and I just didn't know how I was gonna get on my feet. I was going through a really tough time in my life, and I met this guy who I thought we could make a really good life together. He just kind of sprung on me that he had a daughter who was pregnant and that she needed a place to stay. I decided she could stay with us. So we were all living under one roof. My boyfriend, my boyfriend's daughter, and after a few months, she had a little baby. But her and the baby, they didn't really connect. Not long after, my boyfriend and I broke up, and he and his daughter moved out, and I was left behind with the baby. Michael has changed my life in so many ways. No, I didn't birth him, but he is my son, and it's my responsibility to take care of him. I really feel like now my life has tremendous focus, because my focus is basically providing a better life for him and I. And Michael has special needs. And so I have had to take him to several doctors, including occupational therapy, including physical therapy. And all of those things have been super expensive. Being a single mom has been a little bit tough. My friend told me that Foundation Communities was an awesome program and I should really check it out. It is one of the best decisions I've ever made. When I first saw the apartments, I was really impressed with the cleanliness of the area. I felt very safe on the property. I saw the playground, the playscape, and I really thought that Michael would enjoy that. Also, they have fitness trails, and they have exercise classes here that you can take, from yoga to Zumba, to get you moving and grooving. There's nothing like having a place that I could call my own. I love it. I love it. A place where Michael and I could sit down and eat together. Being able to go back to work and school and having my son right at the Learning Center, that has been a huge, huge help for me. He has been diagnosed with autism and ADHD. And the teachers there at the Learning Center have been fabulous in working with him. I feel like he's more confident. I feel like he's really coming into his own as a kid. One of the things that got me in this place where I needed Foundation Communities is I was not managing my money properly. And so one of the first things that I hurried up and signed up for was the financial management classes. All of those services are right here at Foundation Communities.
Nice to meet you as well.
There's no reason that you can't get on your feet when you live here.
What does this guy do?
He's a conductor.
What happened?
Currently, I have 8 more classes to finish my bachelor's degree to become a counselor. And yeah, I'm super excited. After all these years and all of these bumps in the road, I finally have my dream back. And so I'm taking advantage of all the services that I can to be able to realize that dream. So that when I'm like, hey, I'm ready to fly, I'm ready to go out there in the world and really contribute, I can do that. Foundation Communities has given us an opportunity to really get ourselves together, and it's given me and my son a better life, without a doubt.